Hey guys, Sandy here. I am super excited to be celebrating the opening of the new Confessions of a Paper Addict cut file shop on Etsy. And there is a group of, I guess, about 20 of us that are going to be participating in this YouTube hop. So this is the cut file that I have, and hopefully you can put it on there so you can see it a little bit better with the globe and the city. I'm super excited about that. Make sure that you follow along on the hop and that you use the coupon code so that you can get 10% off of your purchase. There's also going to be a couple of prize giveaways, so it's going to be a whole bunch of fun. Let's see what I can do. The first thing I did was trace a little, not really trace, like draw a little line that would kind of represent a travel line. And when I originally had this idea, I knew that I wanted to somehow incorporate an airplane, because if you've watched any of my YouTube videos in the past, you do know that I love scrapbooking airplanes. Now, I decided to do that, and I was originally thinking of a stitch where it looked like it was a dotted edge. Now, I ended up backstitching the entire thing, so it didn't turn out as I had envisioned it in my head, but that's okay because it's done and the layout is looking kind of cool, I think. So anyway, we have that. So the next thing I did was grab my little paper piercer, and I just pierced holes throughout the entire line that I had kind of drawn freehand. I did incorporate a heart that turned out pretty cool, I think. So the reason why I even had the whole airplane and stitching idea is because we went on a coast to coast trip. So we live in California and we flew to New York to celebrate our 20th wedding anniversary. So I was kind of hoping that that would be kind of understood, even though this isn't the like a United States, this is a globe. It's kind of like all the way across. So anyway, makes sense in my head. Now this was a waste of purple tape because for some reason I felt that my background couldn't be where the globe was, even though I completely forgot that I was going to be covering up that entire globe area. So I have a couple products that I'm using. I'm using a metallic aqua pigment from Brutus Monroe. I'm using some Tailored Expression liquid watercolors that had dried up in my palette. I just added some water to it. Now this is a kind of subtle background to this layer of it. It's just getting a shine throughout the entire layout. And I'm actually using a blush brush. Now I always say that if you have a tool that you're comfortable with, to go ahead and just use it. And I'm comfortable with a fluffy blush brush with paint, so that's what I use. Now I am using Basil Marshmallow cardstock here, so it is taking a good bit of water. And I added a new liquid watercolor that I didn't have dried up in the pan already, called Blue Corn. And I'm just adding a little bit more water to that because it is a strong watercolor without the water. And I'm just like, bam, splattering. And then I decide to mix in the aqua pigment and give it a little bit more splatter. Now I'm really liking the way the splats are kind of bursting. Like I'm totally digging it. I think it's cool. I just really, really enjoy it. So adding a little bit more water and a couple more splats. And then I'm even going to spray water over top of my splats, and that's just to give it a little bit more of a burst, so that any splats that were kind of not splats and just drops, they will splat out a little bit more. So I grabbed some paper towels and I'm just going to go ahead and blot some of this up because, like I said, this is a lot of water. As you can see, my paper is starting to curl up. Now the Basil Marshmallow can really take the mixed media, but I mean, like I said, it's curling up. So I got a lot of water going on here. And just a word to the wise, don't splat around your cut files, because I did get some blue on the cut file. It's barely noticeable, but it is there. So here you can kind of see the vision, and this is when I'm like, oh, I just stitched this as a back stitch and I want it to do like just a straight stitch. But at this point I had spent too much time stitching it, and you know what, it just wasn't worth it to redo it for me, because that, like I said, that took a lot of time and my fingers were sore, so just went with it. Now, and that's one thing, like, just go with it. If something happens, just try to go with it and see what magic you can make out of it. Sometimes the magic does not get made. Sometimes it's just a mess up and you got to start over or cover it up. But you know what? Just try it and you'd be amazed at the things that you can happen. So here I'm just outlining where the land and the water go for the globe, because the land is going to be backed with paper, but the water is going to be filled in with sequins. And I'm really excited to do that. This is probably my favorite thing to do with sequins, and that is to just pile them on a page and create like a look with it. So I'm so excited to show you this. So I have 2 sequin mixes from Spiegel Mom Scraps, and they were exclusively designed for the Secret Not Secret Kit Club. So you have to be a Kit Club member to be able to get these particular mixes. And I take a jewel picker, and I'm just dropping each of the sequins onto some bling zots and laying it down on the page. Now I did get smarter and do a whole bunch of sequins on my zots and then move it to the page, and look at that. Oh, I just love it. So there are varying shades of blue. There's a couple silver and some purple in there that I just wanted to give it a little bit of excitement. So this New York City trip is going to be scrapbooked with Chamel's Sparkle City. So I was trying to find colors and things that I knew would work with that collection, because I have the collection. I'm actually even going to use one of the word thickers on this layout, but for some reason I didn't want to cut into the papers, which makes no sense now that I think about it. I don't know if I felt like I needed to save it for the layout. I think that's what I was thinking, that this was kind of be like the introductory page to the trip inside of the chronological album, because I don't have enough photos to give it its own album. So I think that's what I was thinking. That probably sounds about right. So this is some old paper. Look at this Chatterbox stuff. So I just go ahead and start backing the cut file. And here's where I made a boo-boo. I glued the front of the cut file to what I was backing it with and did not realize it and be able to pull it off in time. And I didn't want to rip the cut file, so I'm just covering it up. Decided to map my photo on some black cardstock, and as you can see, I'm trying to figure out a good place to place my photo, because I don't want to cover up really any of the water for the globe, because it's like my stupid favorite part. Like, I am stupid happy with it. So I'm trying not to cover much, if at all, any of it up, because just look at those pretty sequins. And I'm just kind of figuring out where the cut file is going to lay and how it's going to look on the page. And that little teeny piece of building that was sticking out from behind the photo, it's just not enough building for me. So I do snip some of that building off right there, and then I just bring it forward a little bit so it's still poking out from behind the photo, but it's not teeny tiny little piece. And yeah, I just snipped right into that cut file, like, whoa. So there it is. Now I'm going to back all the buildings, and I back the buildings with some iridescent paper and some shiny paper and some black paper. And I did this because I felt like it was a good match to the Sparkle City stuff. And I like the shiny. Like, I probably put a little bit more shiny on there than most people would be comfortable with, but you know what? I liked it, so that's what I did. And as you can see, everything is glued. I also added some washi tape just to add some stability to where I had glued my pieces of paper to the back of the cut file. Now I am just loading that sucker up with ATG because it is super sticky. And I'm just going to line it up so that the water peeks through. And as you can see, even that teeny tiny little piece down there on the bottom right, I put one sequin there. So when you looked at it, there would be a little bit of sparkle underneath of it. So you kind of knew that that was water as well. Now, if you decided that you would rather have the water on the other parts and land there, not a big deal. You can finagle this to really do anything you want it to do. Now, I did have some glue and stuff, so I just took a Creative Memories cloth and I'm just wiping that glue off of our photo. And there it is. And then I have to add a little bit more glue to that flag up there because it's kind of, the flag is just kind of blowing in the wind, and that's not really what I wanted it to do. So as you can see, there is a lot of shimmer on this. And then there is my little airplane, my original idea from the very beginning. And then I just go ahead and layer that airplane right over the heart. And I'm like, oh, yes, I love it. Because, like I said, I just love scrapbooking airplanes. So I'm trying to figure out what else I want to add to this, which I know there isn't going to be a lot of embellishing because those sequins and the iridescent paper really make it pop. Like, it's a big old pop. So these are the thickers from Sparkle City, and I'm going to use one of the words. It's going to be greatest, and then I'm going to use one of the words from the other thicker set, and I don't remember which one that is called. So pull this off, and in case you were wondering, these are actually kind of like this iridescent paper almost on top of pink foam. And then I'm just going to grab this little guy that says Trip, and they don't nestle perfectly with each other, and that's okay. I'm just going to layer the Trip over top of greatest, and that's going to make me happy because, like I said, the globe and the cut file, the globe part of the cut file has so much sparkle and shine, and bam, driving your attention here. And then the buildings have a lot of sparkle because there is a lot of iridescent paper, there's a glitter paper, there is that metallic papers I have as well, which you might not be able to pick up, but there it is, and that is going to do it for this layout, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit everybody's link down below, as we do have this YouTube pop. And like I said, there is about 20 of us. So get yourself a cup of coffee, get yourself a snack, and sit down and enjoy the moment. Just watching some YouTube videos. Now, for a second, I thought about matting this on black cardstock because I am in a matte everything on black cardstock phase, but I decided not to. I didn't want to mess with trimming it, especially around the embroidery thread there. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will catch you next time.